to explain, where you've got mould,
Yeah.
you've got high relative humidity, above 85% for a long period of time. Relative humidity is a measure of air's capacity to hold moisture.
Yeah.
So 100% it can't hold any more moisture and comes out as condensation. At 85% it can still hold moisture, and it can normally hold moisture until it gets to 100%, which is normally about 3 degrees lower.
The temperature is important, you're saying?
Temperature is a function. The relative humidity is a function of vapor pressure, amount of vapor in the air, quantity of vapor, and temperature. I'll explain a little bit more later.
Let's tell you, I never have the heating on in that room, and I always, even in minus, I have the door open. The window is always open.
When cooking, but at night. I'm guessing
at night we close everything, and I never have the heating on. I mean, because
but mould will tend to grow at night.
Oh, really?
Between the hours of about 10 o'clock and 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock.
Oh,
okay. But could that be part of? I mean, we never have the heating on in there.
Because I always have the door open. That's why you get the vapor out, as you say.
That would be part of the issue. But when did you start to get mould?
We've been here forever now, lately.
Not forever. A few months ago.
Yeah, no, we've been here forever, I want to say, but we only started...
But the mould we were aware of...
6 months ago.
Yeah, maximum 6 months ago.
And so you haven't changed your habits in that time?
We have the house painter. It makes any difference then,
No, we haven't.
Like sort of retirements or during COVID, people were working from home a lot more.
We're retired anyway.
I mean, there's been no change just before that or since that.
But it could also be change on your neighbour's side, insofar as there may not be heating anymore that side. So because it's a party wall, you're subject to whatever the temperature is on the other side.
Oh, really?
Yes, this is the kind of information I wasn't aware of. Useful. Yeah.
So relative humidity is a function of temperature and vapor pressure. Putting the warm plates into that cupboard is obviously creating the vapor, but it would be the combination of that plus the cold wall to create a high surface relative humidity. The data loggers are going to help us now. I'll be looking at the last 10 days or so, but it'll be useful going forward as we move towards October when it starts to become much colder and condensation.
But it's been raining here as well. I mean, that's the other problem.
England is England.
It
hasn't been so much rain.
It has been an exceptionally wet spring. I mean, everyone says that. But whether that is significant.
But when I say I always open the door as well, even if I boil eggs, I mean, I don't mind, when you cook, you don't get hot.
That's good, but it's a relatively inefficient way of ventilating, because if the air's moving if the wind is in this direction, then the vapour will come back into the house rather than go out.
Oh, right.
A much more efficient method. I'll just have a look actually. The extractor fan isn't going out, it's just recycling.
It's not. I wanted to put a duct, but they couldn't do it.
Is that a metal?
There was something there, a beam or something.
Okay.
I did say, please, when they did the refurbishment, they could have, but they said, no, we can't do that.
So there are many ways of solving the problem, and I'll go through those later on. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to look at the data loggers, calibrate them, make sure that they're working on your system.
And we don't have any smell here anywhere. I mean,
but then it will be warmer as you get further away from this wall, and also plus you're putting the
hot stuff,
the recently washed plates.
Well, I'll need to show you the next stage. I was just taking this out to calibrate.
Ordinary tap water is fine. So a bit of water. It's got to be running around, and a bit of salt. It's just calcium, sodium chloride, shall I say?
Yeah. I'm going to use a device to look higher up. There's some plant growth on that. There's a gap there, which, no change out here.
No, it's been like that. I mean, I just repainted it, but everything else.
Oh, have you taken these off?
Yes, I took them off. Yes, so you could see underneath. Yeah, but normally those are there covering.
Can it be that these windows that we changed, they're about 40 years old now? That's what I'm saying, because it's been very old.
Well, the way it goes is you see condensation inside the double glazing.
Here, yes.
But inside it, not on the inside. Yeah, otherwise it's fine.
The seal is perfect.
Okay.
The seal's fine. But the fact that you're getting condensation on the double glazing, and this is thick double glazing, it's not the really thin stuff, tells me that you've got excess humidity on the inside, and
I have to put the heating on.
We need a heating on.
ventilation, dehumidification. We'll talk more about all the sources, but they're essentially 5. So cooking about 1/4 of a litre per person per day.
Say that again?
1/4 of a litre per person from vapour from cooking. Yeah. Obviously you've got the door open, but at night it isn't.
Not that door, this door is open, yeah.
Drying clothes, it's about 1/2 a litre per person per day.
Don't do that. No.
Drying clothes.
That's up in the bathrooms where there's heating.
Okay. There is showering. So a shower is about 1/2 a litre per shower.
Yeah.
If it's cumulative, it isn't, double the amount.
That's upstairs anyway.
But vapour moves through diffusion, so wherever you have it, it will move around the house.
It's not down here.
Powerful extractors.
It's on the other side.
And there's big heaters in the shower.
And you can open the window from the top,
I'll have a look at that.
Yeah.
And then respiration, which is the big one. 3/4 of a litre. Us. 3/4 of a litre. Well, just think of,
Per day.
Per day, yeah.
Per day. Wow.
Really?
And during COVID, there was a massive increase in the amount of condensation and mould because people were working from home.
Oh my God.
But so I'm going to show you ways of reducing the amount of vapour and monitoring the reduction. You should make sure that the internal vapour levels are similar to the outside, or at least the internal dew point, which is a measure of vapour in air, is less than the external temperature.
Whoops, sorry.
So this is using a damp meter, and notice that I move it from drywall. Actually, this is a drywall, I think. Yeah. So it isn't damp here. So that is good. But you have some susceptibility. So this is a solid floor, and it's tile, so it will be acting as a solid floor. It probably won't be worth just putting some silicone in there. If anyone's washing the floor, you've got a risk of water being absorbed up through here, so that will reduce the risk. But primarily mould is the issue, and that's caused by excess humidity, vapour, relative to the temperature, known as relative humidity. And above 85% relative humidity, you have a risk of mould, particularly long-term high humidity, which you obviously get when you go away. And this is behind the kicker board. So what happens is the vapour is moving through diffusion, but it's not benefiting from the heat, even though this radiator isn't used, which is adding to the risk, but it's not necessarily the most economic solution if you don't need it.
So that's continuous flow, and it's running at about 4 litres a second. If you put the light on, let's see how it triggers it. This is constant, is it?
It then reacts and jumps up to doubles of the speed with the light on, and then with humidity it doubles again and it's broken.
It seems to be increasing, but it's... So this is with the light on and running about 6 litres a second.
That's the sound.
So despite the sound, it's running about half what it should be.
Really?
Ah.
So that's better, running at around 10.
But it's a video, so we're getting quite a lot of heat loss at the base of the wall, and this is made of plastic. It's relatively thin,
Yes.
and as I said, one of the reasons for the
So it's not double glazed like the glass, and it's
well, it's a plasticky material. I don't know
Yes.
exactly what's made of it,
So
but
it's
it's going to
not
be
as-
poorly insulated.
yeah.
In the 50s and 60s, they didn't worry about these things. But, so, relative humidity is a function of both temperature and vapour.
Yes.
And although the primary cause is excess vapour relative to the outside, the secondary cause is poor insulation, and a really simple solution to deal with this type of problem is to put insulation in along this wall. And you can just get, there's lots of very inexpensive forms of insulation. What you want to try and do is minimise the gap between the insulation and the wall, but you could get probably wood fibre insulation, which will absorb and release vapour. But you can get anything like timber will insulate to some degree. You just want to create a bit of a seal between the insulation and the wall. So I guess, you can probably get somebody to do it, but just measure up that and have it nicely glued up, basically. So that,
Okay, so permanently in place. Yes.
yes, and that will resolve that
Only on
problem.
the lower bit.
Only on the lower bit, yes. Well, where you're getting the mould, that's where you want to insulate.
Yes. Well,
I mean, there's a case for insulating everywhere, but that's a
Yeah.
different matter.
Yeah.
So this time of year, you're not going to notice the difference as much as you would do in the summertime. But the blue is the cold relative to the green, and then
Yes.
red.
Yes.
Yellow, orange, red.
Yeah.
Where my hand was, you see that it's reflecting the temperature into the window and back.
Yes.
That's emissive. You get heat loss in the corner. And should we just have a look here?
Of course.
So the neighbours away, so they. Just remembering talking about the using the data loggers in parallel, where
Yes.
you look at the dew point,
Yes.
the relative dew point at any time, and you can perhaps put the data loggers with the clothes drying upstairs
Yeah.
and downstairs in the kitchen, and just seeing how much vapour is being produced by the clothes, because if it's much higher than the dew point on the data logger downstairs, then you've got a lot of vapour coming from there. Or maybe not. Maybe you find out that actually the cold clothes are not part of the issue.
Yeah.
You could do it with the door open, door closed, and have the data logger outside and just see what the effect. Or you can have the one data logger immediately outside, one data logger inside with the door closed and without it closed. And all of these things help you understand where it's coming from. I'm giving you the sort of general method for solving the problem, but you may find that you have a more specific way of a subtle, nuanced way of dealing with it, where it doesn't need to take more. You don't necessarily need to have a dehumidifier running, because you may find that actually that's not the major thing.
Yeah.
So I have to deal with everyone's problems, and although I try and be as specific to you, I don't know what your habits and so on.
Yeah.